us, they can watch us on YouTube. I've put the link in the chat box. Okay. So first of all, a very, very warm welcome to everyone. Good afternoon. I hope all of you are doing safe, staying safe and doing well. Thank you so much for joining us for today's session, um, on which we will be, our experts will be talking about hacks of becoming an ace mooter. So I would just like to, before we begin with the introduction and the session, just some quick guidelines that I mentioned earlier we'll be following. First of all, only the people who've joined us via Zoom will be getting the certificates. Ones who've joined us via YouTube shall not be eligible to get the certificates, but of course, knowledge is available to everyone. So you can join us on YouTube and, get the knowledge out of this session. And secondly, as I mentioned earlier, everyone will be kept on mute throughout the session, so that you can hear our speakers very clearly. You will not be unmuted. So in case you have any queries, any doubts, you can just put it in the chat box, and we will make sure to get it across to our speakers. Also, as I mentioned earlier, we will the certificates will be issued. So for that, you have to give your full name, your college name, and your email ID at 4:45 p.m., not before that. And once you put that information, it automatically gets updated in our records, so you don't have to put it in again and again. So thank you so much. And with that, we would like to begin today's session. And I'd just like to quickly introduce our expert speakers for today. We have Mr. Anant Gupta, who is the CEO of Memo Pundits. Mr. Anant graduated from the National Law University, Odisha in 2016. He worked with the banking law team of Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas and Co for 2 years, and also gained business certifications from Harvard Business School. Throughout his 5 years of law school, Mr. Anant remained an active mooter with a considerable number of achievements to his name. His team was adjudged as runners-up in the up their skills. And I would like to quickly introduce our second guest for today. We have Mr. Rachnendra Tripathi, who is the COO of Memo Pundits. Mr. Rachnendra also graduated from NLU Odisha in 2016 and practiced litigation for 2 years. His passion for mooting was evident right from his first moot court competition, where his team bagged the best memorial and runners-up citation at G.H. Raisoni Moot Court competition. His exceptional formatting skills have helped at least 15 moot teams win the best memorial citation at national and international moot courts, such as the Philip C. Jessup Moot Court. A very, very warm welcome, Mr. Rachnendra and Mr. Anand. Thank you so much for being with us today, and thank you for educating our students on such an important topic. And without any further delay, over to the both of you.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Anant. And I have Rachnendra also with us for this webinar. We are really thrilled to have this webinar. First of all, it's really exciting to see that a lot of people are willing to spend their time during such such a pandemic situation which we have right now. But anyway, I think we should begin the webinar. I think some people are writing their email IDs and names, so you can, I think for everyone, you can hold on to the chats, you can hold on to your questions. The manner in which we will proceed with this webinar is that first we are going to have a conversational session with the moderator. They'll ask us questions, we'll answer them. And then at the end, we will take question answers from the participants. So till then, you can, note down your questions or keep the questions in your mind. Probably we might answer your questions while answering the questions of the moderator itself. Right. So, Apratim, do you want to take it forward? I think you are on mute, I think. Yeah.
First of all, I would like to welcome Anant sir and Rachnendra sir on behalf of the entire team of Lex Auxilium. And as sir has already stated that the questions will be entertained in the last 10 minutes of the session. And till the time, we would request all of you to hold the questions for a moment and let the speakers continue with their let the speakers continue with their speech till the time, and so we are good to go.
Okay. So, Apratim, do you want to start off with the questions which you had lined up for us?
Yeah, definitely, sir. I'll start with the questions first, which we
Let's
had
do
lined
that,
up.
and then we'll also try to give in our experiences about whenever required.
Definitely, sir. So basically, as you know, that right now mooting is trending, as well as it's really important for the law students, to excel in their, 5 years or maybe 3 years of their course, so that, the mooting makes them future ready. I mean, if they want to go for a litigation or a practice, it helps them to understand that how a procedure in a courtroom works. So keeping that in mind, sir, I have came up with a certain set of questions which I would like to put before you. So the first question is that what should be, according to you, what should be one's motivation for doing a moot?
Mm-hmm. I think actually that's a very pertinent question, and out of the 99 participants, I'm very sure 90 participants have had this question in their lives, and the question goes like this: Sir, moot क्यों करूं, या अगर करूं तो क्या मुझे help करेगा? Is it important for my CV? So these are very basic questions, and I would say that these are very reasonable questions. When I joined law school, when I was in my first year, उड़ते उड़ते खबर आई थी कि अच्छा there's something called moot court competitions, so you should do it, right? That's all what we knew at that time. Like there's some co-curricular activity which is important for law students, and which if we do it, it's better for us. But at that point of time, we did not have any any substantial answer to the question which you have asked us right now. So after 8-9 years of dealing with moot court competitions, training moot teams, what we now think is, of course, like doing a moot has a lot of motivations for each student. It could be different. For some, it could be I want to travel. Yeah, so for international moot court competitions, it could be I want to travel. For some, it could be certificates, right? I want to get a certificate. I want to participate. But I think what you really gain out of like a very invaluable thing, which you cannot put a price on it, or you cannot quantify it. Something which you gain out of it is the following skill set, which is you gain research, you gain drafting, and you gain formatting skills, which otherwise it's very difficult to learn these skills in such a short span of time. So I'm guessing like all of us, all the 100 participants who are here, have an idea of how, approximately how much time a moot court competition preparation takes. About, let's say, a month or two at least, right? So in that month or two, you gain so much of knowledge, jo ki even if you're sitting in a classroom lecture of your college, you may or may not be able to gain that amount of knowledge, right? So according to me, I think the main motivation for you to do moot courts should be that you will gain a lot of skill set out of this. And of course, inevitably you gain a lot of other things. You add something to your CV, you add something to your profile. And इस ये जो एक norm चलता है कि CV में add करना, profile में add करना, I'll tell you what it actually means. It actually means कि you are showing to your possible potential recruiters that you have done, you have the experience of something which is a high pressure situation. Moot court competitions are a high pressure situation, right? So that is something good to have in your CV, of course, but that should not be your main motivation.
I'd like to add something to this. Apratim, you asked about how a student should feel motivated, but at the same time, when हम classes करते हैं जाके, most of the students we find are demotivated for a couple of reasons कि वो moot क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं. So the first reason, the prime reason is क्योंकि उन्हें subject, उन्हें ऐसा लगता है कि हमने अभी constitutional law first year में है, and we haven't read constitutional law, so we are they feel very arrested to pick up a moot related with constitutional law. So not at all related. मतलब हमारे कॉलेज में वन ऑफ द बेस्ट रिसर्चर जो जैसप की टीम के लिए सबसे ज्यादा सॉट आफ्टर रिसर्चर था, वो एग्जाम्स में इतना हॉरिबली परफॉर्म करता था. हिज ग्रेड वाज सो हॉरिबल, क्योंकि बिकॉज उसकी आदत थी कि वो एग्जाम के लिए अगर कल 10 केस लॉग आने वाले हैं तो वो 10 के 10 उठा के पूरे डिटेल में पढ़ेगा. तो वो एग्जाम के लिए वो हैबिट उसकी बहुत काउंटर प्रोडक्टिव प्रूव हो जाती थी. लेकिन जब वो थर्ड ईयर में आया एंड दिस वेरी हैबिट प्रूव हिम टू बी सच अ ग्रेट रिसर्चर कि वो फिफ्थ ईयर तक वो जेसप की टीम में रहा है. आफ्टर फिफ्थ ईयर ही मेंटर्ड जेसप टीम जो कि जेसप में जाके ऑक्टा फाइनल्स तक पहुंची है, एंड इट वाज वन ऑफ द बेस्ट परफॉर्मेंस बाय एनी इंडियन टीम इन जेसप. तो स्टूडेंट शुड नॉट फील अरेस्टेड कि कोई सब्जेक्ट नॉलेज है तो मैं नहीं करूं. सेकेंड रीजन इज कि स्टूडेंट थिंक कि हमें पब्लिक स्पीक का वो फियर है, हमें रिसर्च स्किल्स नहीं आती है. तो जस्ट नो दिस थिंग कि जब भी आप कोई भी चीज पहली बार करोगे, whenever you do anything for the first time, you are bound to commit mistakes. Now it is on you कि वो mistakes you are willing to commit in your first years and learn by the time you are in your fourth year, या फिर फोर्थ ईयर में जाके वो मिस्टेक्स करो. क्योंकि आप फर्स्ट ईयर से थर्ड ईयर तक अगर मूट नहीं करते हो, फोर्थ ईयर तक हर बच्चे का ये हाल होता है दैट यार मैं मूट कर लेता है यार, मेरा मिस हो गया. तो जस्ट गो एंड डोंट थिंक अबाउट टू मच ऑफ मोटिवेशन. देयर इज द प्राइम रीजन इज दैट यू आर इन लॉ स्कूल. लॉ स्कूल के अलावा किसी भी और कॉलेज में ऐसी को करिकुलर एक्टिविटी नहीं है. एनी सब जगह डिबेट्स हैं, एमयूएन्स हैं, रिसर्च पेपर्स हैं, बट मूट कोर्स आर वेरी स्पेसिफिक टू लॉ स्कूल. So I think everyone should do it at least once.
Thank you so much, sir. You have addressed those issues which we normally, don't try to talk about. Because normally what happens is that we think that हम लोग moot इसलिए नहीं कर रहे हैं because of the fact कि we're not getting the opportunity, we're not getting the chances. But there is something on our end also which we don't take a step forward, which you rightly addressed. Thank you so much, sir. So with that, I'll move on to the next question. The next question says that how important a good team composition is for participating as well as winning a moot court competition. Okay. Anant sir.
So
Rachnendra sir.
I'll take this पहले.
Yes sir.
First of all, जब मूट की जो स्टेज आती है तो मूट में whenever you pick a moot, whenever you decide कि मैं ये वाला XYZ मूट करने वाला हूँ, even before that टीम कॉम्पोजिशन आपको बनाना पड़ता है. आफ्टर योर IMCC यू गेट अ एंटायर लिस्ट और उसमें आपको टीम कॉम्पोजिशन बनाना पड़ता है. एंड कंपोजिंग योर टीम इज द प्राइमरी रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ परफॉर्मिंग एज मच बेटर एज यू वांट. और आप टीम को ये देख के मत बनाओ कि आपके दोस्त हैं या फिर व्हाटएवर, आप रूम्स आपके पास में, आप सिर्फ साथ में कर रहे हो तो जस्ट मेक अ टीम. देयर शुड बी अ लॉट ऑफ म्यूचुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग बिटवीन एवरीवन. मतलब यू शुड हैव द गट्स टू टेक क्रिटिसिज्म फ्रॉम द वन विद व्हिच यू आर फॉर्मिंग द टीम. सब लोग एटलीस्ट सिमिलरली हार्ड वर्किंग होने चाहिए. बिकॉज इफ वन गाय इज वर्किंग टू हार्ड, देन वो अपने आप दूसरे पे पॉइंट आउट करने लगेगा कि यार तू ये काम नहीं कर रहा है यार, व्हाट अबाउट द रिसर्च व्हिच आई गिव यू, हैव यू डन इट. तो एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, जब टीम आप बना रहे हो ना, तो व्हाट मिस्टेक मेनी स्टूडेंट्स कमिट इज, वो ये देखते हैं कि मेरे बैच में हु इज द स्टूडेंट जिसके ग्रेड सबसे ज्यादा है. 7 पॉइंटर कौन है, 8 पॉइंटर कौन है, 9 पॉइंटर कौन है. तो दे रन आफ्टर दो स्टूडेंट्स कि यही बच्चे हैं जो हु कैन परफॉर्म गुड इन द मूट. बट ऐसा नहीं है. डोंट गो आफ्टर द ग्रेड लिस्ट. देयर इज अ सेपरेट लिस्ट कॉल्ड द रैंक लिस्ट इन योर रिस्पेक्टिव इंट्रा यूनिवर्सिटी मूट कोर्ट सेशन. उस लिस्ट के पीछे जाओ. बिकॉज आई हैव सीन इट्स वेरी ऑफन कि जो बच्चे कॉलेज में एग्जाम्स में बहुत ज्यादा अच्छे नंबर लाते हैं, मतलब नो जजमेंट टुवर्ड्स देम, लेकिन वो मूट में उतना अच्छा नहीं कर पाते. मतलब इट्स माय पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस. ठीक है.
Yeah, certainly. Matlab, I just like to add one thing. Academic experiences will never equate to moot experiences. मतलब अगर कोई इंसान moot में अच्छा कर रहा है तो जरूरी नहीं है कि वो academically अच्छा करे. Academically कोई अच्छा कर रहा है तो जरूरी नहीं है कि moot में अच्छा करे, right? So I think that's what we need to understand. Also, while composing teams, what we need to see is कि आप किसके साथ. I'll give everybody a very good example. जब हमारे लॉ स्कूल में प्रोजेक्ट की टीम बनती है तो बहुत बार रोल नंबर्स के हिसाब से बनती है, राइट? एंड कितनी बार बहुत ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम्स होती हैं ग्रुप के बीच में, क्योंकि एक इंसान कम काम करता है, दूसरा इंसान थोड़ा ज्यादा काम करता है, एंड एनीवे मतलब there is some underlying currents between the team because उन्होंने अपने हिसाब से टीम नहीं बनाई. So when you get a chance to compose your own team, think about working relationships. आप किसके साथ काम अच्छे से कर सकते हो, किसके साथ पीसफुली, किस पे आपको कॉन्फिडेंस है कि वो काम करेगा, राइट? सो उसके अलावा देयर शुड बी नो मोटिवेटिंग फैक्टर कि वो मेरा दोस्त है और मेरा बेस्ट फ्रेंड है, राइट? In fact, matlab, I don't know why, but Rachnendra and I have never been in the same Moot team. Although, like, there's no rift between us, but he used to do different subject.
Because we were friends, we were never in the same Moot team.
So, yeah. So basically, the takeaway is that focus on working relationships, focus on people who you are confident about.
Totally. I think that was a good piece of advice, I think, which all of us should keep in mind before we start forming our team for the Moot courts. Because I think one of the major issues which in fact I have felt in my last 4 to 5 moots I have done, that how to form a good team, because always it happens that when you do with your peer group, there is a voice coming from your inside that you're not doing the work. Please do it, but you cannot say it on their face, and the ultimate thing is that the effect is on the result. So for all the participants, I would like to tell you that please note this advice very carefully given by our speakers, because this is, one important factor which can become a deciding factor that whether you win or lose a moot. Moving ahead.
And also if you continue with your friendship or not, because otherwise you'll break your friendship.
If friendship is the sole criteria of forming the Moot team, then rest assured Moot के बाद वो friendship भी नहीं रहेगी और Moot में तो आपका हो ही चुका है.
Yeah, so again keep that advice in mind, because that's a tough decision to make. Idhar kuan udhar khai wali situation it will be for the participants, because if you don't make the team, then you lose your friendship, and if you make the team with your friends and you lose, then you lose the competition as well as your friends. So yeah, keeping the jokes aside, we'll move ahead now. So sir, the next question to you is that when we, for most of the freshers, even when I started doing the Moot for the first time, the doubt which first of all came into my mind was that ki research kahan se karni hai. When I searched for the case law on Google, I directly got Advocate Khoj or India Qanun, but later on somebody told me that I should go for SCC. So sir, I would like both of you to substantiate on the same.
Sure. So I'll I'll draw from my own experiences about this. First year mein, when I heard about moot courts, what we used to hear all the time is कि अच्छा moot proposition आ गई है, उस पे ना क्या है, like what are we supposed to do? So of course, like Apratim, you pointed out, we also did the same, and it's very natural for every law student to follow this path, which is go to Google and you start, every law student goes to Google and starts typing out whatever they want to search. For example, if the case is on some constitutional amendment, then they start typing out those keywords and try to search for it. And as you mentioned, has a very good, very good ranking on Google. So बहुत बार Indian कानून जैसी websites काफी ऊपर rank करती हैं, and we tend to rely on them. But unfortunately, if you take a case from Indian Qanun and you cite that in, if you give a citation of Indian Qanun in your memorial, or if by chance you, while having the oral rounds with the judges, you say that ye wala case maine Indian Qanun pe dekha hai, you have no idea how much the judge will grill you. And the simple and the sole reason is that Indian Qanun is not an authorized reporter for any case law which is presented or reported in India, right? So the two, like the most important tools for case law search are Manupatra and SEC Online. Jab main law firm, when I joined Amarchand Mangaldas, even then only these two were the only helpful resources when it came to case law search. So even if you're a law student, when you pass out as a law student, all your lawyer throughout your lawyer life, these two are going to be your holy grail, right? Apart from this, जब आप बिल्कुल start करते हो research करना, it's a very good question. And I'm not sure how many students जिन्होंने join किया है आज have taken our workshop or our online memorial course. But one thing which we focus really, really specifically on our workshops and the courses, that you have to start with the terms which you are unfamiliar about, right? So for example, if the Moot proposition talks about a company which has been incorporated, right? Now a lot of times as law students, we would take it for granted that we know words like incorporated. You have heard these words, but you still need to do research on the exact legal meaning of such words, right? So the key advice when you start research is start finding out the legal meaning of unfamiliar terms and legal terms which you are not so sure about that you know the meaning of, right? Yeah, I think that's a good way to start. Rachnendra, if you would like to add anything, you can.
This is the most preliminary research, Apratim. I think the first step towards preliminary research is reading your Moot proposition. Many students miss out on that. They don't know that the first step, this comes in handy until you have reached the oral arguments wala stage. When you're entering the Moot court, sometimes it has happened with a lot of people कि वो Moot court घुसने, Anant के साथ एक बार हुआ है कि he was entering the Moot court hall, and just before that he read the fact sheet and he found a very different fact contrary to his argument.
Exactly.
So
outside the courtroom, I read the problem again and I found something.
Reading the fact sheet is the soul of your preliminary research. Aapka, for example, in your problem, the first line says that XYZ Private Limited had a share market of this कुछ भी है fact. So the very name of the company, XYZ Private Limited, is नाम में इतनी research, preliminary research की हुई है that you should know what entails private का मतलब क्या है. What is the meaning of private limited? Because the judge can, और ये सारी issue based research नहीं है. This is the preliminary research जो आपको पता होनी चाहिए. For example, if you are approaching a Moot next year, if you're planning to do a Moot next year जो कि corporate law से related है, तो उससे just पहले वाले साल you try to just flip out the pages of company law. देखने की कोशिश करो कि company law में क्या क्या चीजें हैं. और धीरे. So the better you have understood company law, the better you will be able to read your Moot proposition at the first stage. So picking out the keywords is the trick of preliminary research. Or Google Pay, I want everyone to do this thing. Google Pay, the proper method of researching on Google is called the syntax search. ठीक है, तो ये जाके देखना कि कुछ ऑथोरेटिव कीवर्ड्स होते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल इन्वर्टेड कोट्स में आप कुछ ढूंढते हो, तो गूगल पे रिसर्च करने के लिए there are certain keywords, certain symbols. I want every one of you to go through with what is called syntax search. और आपको Google से इतना सारा research मिल जाता है ना, that it helps you a lot more with your preliminary research. Yes, sir.
Totally. Thank you so much, sir. I mean, this is again to the participants, please note this tip, that what is a syntax search and why you need to do it. And as Anant sir and Rachnendra sir rightly pointed out, ki rather than directly jumping onto the issues and try to, search about that what are the supporting statements or what are the supporting case laws pertaining to your issue, try to do a background research about the Moot proposition, as they rightly said. Because once you have a background research, I mean, it will, help you to think in both the ways. Coming to that, sir, actually हम लोग जब भी कोई Moot proposition उठाते हैं तो mostly people say that one side is strong and one side is weak. तो कैसा होता है कि I mean one of the parties, the petitioner is strong and the respondent is weak, or the plaintiff is strong, the defendant is weak. ऐसा sir, you will see that in 90% moots the people have this justification कि ऐसा होता है. But when I have done the Moot, sir, so I personally felt कि अभी जैसे आप लोगों ने बैकग्राउंड रिसर्च को पॉइंट आउट किया, यू पॉइंटेड आउट दैट अ बैकग्राउंड रिसर्च, अ थॉरो रिसर्च अबाउट द प्रॉब्लम इज इंपॉर्टेंट. तो व्हाट विल बी योर टेक ऑन द सेम? that how would you suggest the participants that rather than going for such a justification that one side is strong and one side is weak, they should think about both the sides on a parallels?
I'm going to take this. What happens is when you are researching on the facts, so first of all, when you read the facts, you have an imprint of a judgment. मतलब आपके दिमाग में ये आ जाता है कि yes, this side was right, और वो most probably जो शेयर होल्डर्स होते हैं वो आपको राइट करेक्ट दिखते हैं, और जो कंपनी होती है वो आपको इनकरेक्ट दिखती है. तो आपको लगता है कि शेयर होल्डर्स वाला जो साइड है वो बिल्कुल सॉर्टेड है और जो कंपनी है वो गलत करके रह गई. बट देन the trick to a moot problem क्या है? moot proposition, एक अच्छी moot proposition का it has a very certain trait कि it has to be balanced. मतलब it is for given कि वो moot proposition balanced है, दोनों तरफ से arguments है. तो if at all you are thinking कि एक side जो है वो strong है, इसका मतलब और कुछ नहीं है. इसका मतलब बस ये है कि उस side से आपने research ज्यादा अच्छे से की हुई, and you need to research more on the other side. And you have, whenever you keep, होता क्या है research में, whenever you dig into an issue, तो आपको case laws मिल जाते हैं, उसी से related आपको articles मिलते जाते हैं, and you go deeper into the research pertaining to a particular stand. तो आपको लगता है yes, इस वाले particular issue में ये research मिलती जा रही है, इसका मतलब इस side से, for example, a particular side से ये issue strong है और इस तरफ से ये issue weak है. But that is not true. दूसरी तरफ से क्या होगा? There would be one case, एक case होगा कोई जो आपका पूरा argument दूसरी side से design कर देगा. And most importantly, the trick to research in case laws is, जब भी ऐसा होता था हमारे साथ कि for example एक तरफ से हमें ऐसा लग रहा है कि side बहुत ज़्यादा strong है, तो what you need to do is कि जब उस साइड से जो तुम जजमेंट पढ़ रहे हो, तो वो जजमेंट में जब पढ़ोगे ना, तो बीच वाला जो पार्ट होता है, स्टार्टिंग में किसी भी जजमेंट में फैक्ट्स लिखे होंगे, जो बीच वाला पार्ट होता है किसी भी जजमेंट का, उसमें दोनों तरफ की जो पार्टीज है उनके आर्ग्यूमेंट्स लिखे होते हैं, और लास्ट में जज अपना ऑर्डर देता है. तो जो बीच वाला पार्ट है उसमें यू नीड टू फाइंड आउट व्हाट द अदर पार्टी वाज आर्ग्यूइंग, और whatever he was arguing, the other party, whatever he was citing, whatever he was relying on, वो सारा can help you to develop research from the other side, जो आपको लग रहा है side weak है. Anand, would you like to add on this?
Yeah, in fact, just today morning I received a DM on our Instagram, Memo Pundits ka Instagram. Somebody asked me the same question, मतलब in a twisted format. She was like कि I'm not getting any case laws from the other side, from the opposing side. So should I write an argument which has no legal backing? The answer to that is not tricky. The answer is no, you cannot do that. अगर एक moot proposition बनी है, कोई भी moot proposition बनी है, दोनों साइड के arguments present होंगे, 100% present होंगे. अगर तुम्हें ये लग रहा है कि मैं उस पॉइंट पे आ चुका हूं अपनी रिसर्च के कि मुझे दूसरी साइड से आर्गुमेंट्स मिल ही नहीं रहे, it just means that you are almost there. You almost need to just find that one case law or one legal provision which will change the entire game, right? And Pratham, actually what happened in I think about 2 to 3 moots which I did, मुझे same अनफेयर टाइप फीलिंग आई है काफी बार कि यार एक साइड स्ट्रांग थी, दूसरी साइड स्ट्रांग नहीं थी. एंड आई डोंट नो व्हाई दिस आल्सो ऑलवेज यूज्ड टू हैपन. आई यूज्ड टू फील लाइक पेटिशनर साइड इज स्ट्रांग, रिस्पोंडेंट साइड इज वीक, राइट? And in my last moot court competition, which was NUJS Herbert Smith, we got the respondent. So उस time पे भी I was trying to convince myself that we lost the finals simply because the respondent side was weak. But these are all just things which you can say to convince yourself. This doesn't make a difference in the a final rank list or anything like that. Ultimately जीतते वो भी हैं जो रिस्पोंडेंट को रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं और जीतते वो भी हैं जो पेटिशनर को रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं. आप किस तरीके से अपने आर्ग्यूमेंट्स दे रहे हो, कौन से आर्ग्यूमेंट्स चूज कर रहे हो while you are giving the oral arguments, that makes a difference. So there's nothing known as an there's nothing known as a situation where the other side does not have arguments. There is nothing like that.
Research उस साइड से अभी sufficient नहीं है, और ये भी होता है कि फॉर एग्जांपल आप जिस साइड को वीक कह रहे हो, sometimes you get such a strong authority from that side कि आपको लगता है कि अब ये वाली साइड जो है वो ज्यादा स्ट्रांग हो गई, या मेरी दूसरी वाली साइड वीक हो गई है. तो ऐसा ऐसा कुछ होता नहीं है ना. You just need to balance your arguments, और arguments होंगे, मिल जाएंगे. Just need to research more on that.
So thank you so much, sir, because this is a doubt which I have came across throughout my law school while I am doing my moot. I mean I still have a year to go at my law school, but अभी तक कैसा है, जितने भी मूड्स मैंने करे हैं, हर बार ये डाउट तो पहले आता ही है दिमाग में कि ये साइड स्ट्रांग है, चलो इसको पहले कर लेते हैं, ये साइड अभी कमजोर है, इसको बाद में देखा जाएगा जब एक साइड कंप्लीट हो जाएगा. बट in the end what happens is that the side which we consider as weak, that side only backfires you and becomes a huge gap between you and that trophy of the moot court competition. So I would again request the participants.
अगर यही सिचुएशन होती कि एक साइड वीक अगर है तो वो कभी जीतेगी नहीं, तो राम जेठमलानी कभी इतना बड़ा लॉयर नहीं बन पाता. उसने जिंदगी के जितने जो मेजर केसेस हैंडल किए हैं वो डिफेंस केस.
Totally, sir. So again, to the participants, please keep this in mind that none of the side is weak or strong. It's just you, the way you present it, and it's your perspective to convince the judge about your arguments. So never bring it to your mind that one side is strong and the other side is weak.
Another thing, it may so happen कि किसी tier 3 moot में you are facing certain facts जो कि actually tilted हैं किसी एक party के favor में. But that means कि वो जो वहाँ पर जो judge बैठा हुआ है, he also knows this fact कि the facts are tilted in favor of the spectator or the respondent.
Yes,
he is aware of that thing क्योंकि उसको भी research नहीं मिली है.
Yes,
so you don't need to bother about that. इस ऐसे cases में how well you prepare the other side matters a lot. So don't get disheartened. Just research more on that. That's it.
Exactly. Thank you so much, sir. So moving on to the next question now. When there is a thing called as improvisation on the spot. I mean, what happens is that generally moots में तो कम होता है ऐसा, trials में ज़्यादा होता है कि when we just listen to the argument of the other side, that what the other side is presenting. Suppose the prosecution has went first and we are the defense. Now what happens is that they bring out something which was there in our subconscious mind कि ऐसा भी एक fact था, and it happens to us कि it is making the entire case weak for our side. So now whatever improvisation has to be done in such a point of time, it has to be done on the spot. So what will be your suggestion to our participants that if they land up in such a situation, how would they tackle the same?
So I think the situation which you're talking about also resembles in rebuttals and sub-rebuttal rounds of moot court competitions.
Exactly, sir.
And of course trial advocacy. Right. So being a good mooter is a lot about thinking being on your toes and thinking quick, right? जब judges आपसे questions पूछते हैं, तो they don't have a rules, they don't have any rules in front of them कि ऐसे ही questions पूछने हैं. I'll give you a very peculiar example. My last moot court competition, NUJS Herbert Smith corporate law moot court, इसमें क्या हुआ था? The first round which I had, I was the first speaker and I was from the petitioner side. So naturally I was the first speaker. The judge was very angry for some reason. I don't know. He was in a very bad mood. And he was in a mood कि वो मुझे अच्छे से questioning करे, अच्छे से grilling करे ताकि मेरा confidence break हो जाए, right? And as a good mooter, you always need to understand कि the judge will try to break your confidence as much as possible by asking you spontaneous questions, right? So the question which he asked was, counsel, do you know the exact color which is prescribed under the Advocates Act for your for lawyers, blazers and trousers? And this question took me aback, right? Of course, मतलब मुझे एकदम से समझ नहीं आया कि ये मुझसे कोई law related question क्यों नहीं पूछ रहा है. फिर I looked at myself and I was wearing a dark grey suit, right? So of course मुझे 1 minute से थोड़ा सा कम time लगा सोचने में about this answer, but this is where your sharpness, your आपकी background research comes handy. Now luckily I think Moot से 1-2 हफ्ते पहले I read an article on Legally India about the same issue. which was कि lawyers का जो attire होता है उसका color क्या होना चाहिए और वो Advocates Act के किस section में prescribed है. So luckily I just told him right away कि this and this is the section, this and this is the act which is should be applicable, and fortunately he felt good about it. So what I'm trying to say is कि spontaneous questions जब भी आए, all you need to understand is that either you answer it with the utmost confidence, or in case of course ऐसा भी होगा कि you don't know the answer to that question. In that case, you simply have to let the question go. You have to plead ignorance, and you have to be at the mercy of the judges. Of course, this is a very unlucky situation, but kabhi kabar ye situations aati hai.
Totally. Thank you so much, sir. I mean, it has actually the questions which I've asked you, most of them I have experienced personally. So the Advocates Act you were talking about, no, I would also like to share experience of mine with you all, what happened with me. So once we went for a trial advocacy competition, and there what happened is that one of the teams, they were wearing the robe. I mean, the robe which is normally, worn by the advocates in the High Court as well as the district courts while they practice. So under the Advocates Act 1961, I don't remember the exact section right now, but it is said that only you can wear that robe once you are in the High Court campus, as well as, you are a licensed advocate. I mean, you're a practicing advocate. For the, like, Moot Court is an academic simulation, and you cannot wear it over there. So that helped us, to earn an extra point just because we brought that point before the judges. So, I mean, yes. So again, one more tip for the participants, as Sir said, that whenever you are going for a moot, don't think that the questions which will be asked to you will be just restricted to the domain which your problem is pertaining to. Suppose you are going for a company law moot, it doesn't mean that the questions asked to you will be only related to company law. It can be related to the other statutes, like competition law, or maybe related to criminal law, etc. So just have a good preparation, when you are going for a moot. So coming on to the next question, sir. What will be now coming to the memorial part in moot court competitions, actually memorial.
Apratim,
Yes, sir.
Apratim, I'll add something to this.
Yeah, sure, sir. Please go ahead.
I'll add something to it. Ki, what happens in a moot, no, कि कभी-कभी होता क्या है, judges are not very well prepared with the facts of the case. जो भी आप जिस moot proposition का जो facts concerned है, उससे the judges are not very well aware with those facts. So what questions they tend to stick to is the procedural question. तो जैसे आनंद के साथ जो question पूछा, उस judge को आनंद के moot proposition के facts पता हो चाहे ना पता हो, but he is bound to know कि ये वाला जो provision है कि जो lawyer है वो उसके कपड़ों का color क्या होगा, वो कौन सी जगह पे लिखा हुआ है, कौन से provision में लिखा हुआ है, किस act में लिखा है, he is bound to know. So he will grill you on those questions. तो preliminary research में ये सब भी आता है कि आपका ancillary research जो है, moot propositions act के जो आपका procedural research है, जिस जगह पे आप जा रहे हो, अगर आप 226 से concerned है आपका केस, तो आपको 32 के बारे में पता है, आपको एडवोकेट एक्ट के बारे में पता है, एज यू करेक्टली पॉइंटेड आउट, क्योंकि जजेस टेंड टू फोकस ऑन दोज एरियाज जब उनको फैक्ट्स नहीं पता होते हैं, व्हिच सैडली इज द स्टोरी एट मोस्ट ऑफ द मूट कोर्ट कॉम्पिटिशन.
Okay. Yes, again, the participants, please note that fact in mind that you need to be well versed with the procedural laws whenever you are going for a moot, because ultimately there can be questions related to procedural laws. So please be well versed with the same, even though that is not related to the domain of your particular moot proposition. Okay. So the next question, sir, it's really very interesting, and I was waiting to ask this question to you all for a long time now. So whenever we are going through a moot proposition now, and whenever we are preparing our oral statements or the oral arguments, so normally what happens is that we just try to focus on the law points. I mean, हमारा जो argument होना चाहिए, that should be, governed by particular statutes or particular case laws. But कहीं ना कहीं क्या होता है कि इस चीज में हम लोग we miss out the logic. So what will be your suggestion on the fact that while preparing the oral arguments, the student should approach this thing as law and logic or law versus logic?
I'll take this. So, this we always tell to law students, and this is something which, when we were law students, we never really paid attention to, which is the importance of logic in your arguments. Now, what happened was when I passed out from my college and I joined my law firm, when I was asked to research and draft documents, जिसमें proper arguments बनाने पड़ते थे, उसमें I had this habit from law school to substantiate the argument with n number of case laws, n number of legal provisions, and मेरे back of the mind में हमेशा चलता था कि the more authorities I have, I think the better it is for my argument. But unfortunately, the most important part of your argument is logic, right? And मतलब अगर आपके पास logic है और आपके पास logic के साथ एक भी case law है, then your argument can crush the other side's argument, चाहे उसके पास 100 case law भी हो, right? So what I'm trying to say is कि जब भी हम argument draft करने की कोशिश करते हैं, right? There comes a stage between research and drafting when we are almost sure about one argument. What we also used to do, and what everybody here, all the participants should do, is you should brainstorm. You should have discussions with your team, maybe people from outside your team, and you should try to explain to them the structure of your argument. कि देखो, मेरा argument will go like this. I start from this law. These are my facts. Thus, this is happening. If you can truly convince your teammates and other students, other participants, then I think your argument will start to sound logical. And ultimately, जब judges आपको judge करते हैं oral rounds में, if your argument is even slightly logical, then obviously आपसे questions पूछे ही जाएंगे उस चीज पे कि यार ये logic missing कहाँ पे है. So always make sure that your argument, even when you're preparing your memorial or your oral rounds के लिए जितनी भी आपकी preparation है, you always have logic present in your arguments.
To understand the importance of right to privacy, then it came up with the judgment of the Puttaswamy case, wherein fundamental right बन गया था right to privacy. So अगर आप research कर रहे हो and you are in the process of making your argument, and if you are getting the law from both the sides, it is bound to happen कि आपका उस law में या फिर उस provision में there is certain logic. दो contrary logic बिल्कुल exist कर सकते हैं. एक argument, for example, अगर आपको petitioner की side से अगर कोई argument मिला है and it is logical, this does not mean कि respondent की side से जो counter argument होगा that is bound to be illogical. No. You may approach both the arguments with a different logic and with a different law. So if you have a law, if you have found a case, if you have found a provision, it is bound to happen that there is some logic behind it. You just need to dig in deeper to find the logic. So law versus logic नहीं होगा. अगर आपको law मिल गया है और logic नहीं मिल पा रहा है, तो again आपका research lag कर रहा है. You need to research more to find the logic behind the law.
Pratim, I think your audio is mute.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So that was again a good tip which all of us should keep in mind while we are doing the research and while we are tackling the questions during the Moot competitions as well as the trial advocacy competitions. So now I would request all the participants that you can start asking your questions to our guest speakers now. Please put your questions in the chat box and we'll address the questions one by one. Thank you.
I think Deekshita has her. I think she has some question. Yeah. So any question which you have related to mooting, if you want to ask about our experiences, you can. This is the time to do that. In the meantime, what we can tell you is that about something about our course which we have present for law students. So Memo Pundits is an organization which we started in 2014, and since 6 years we have taught about 3,500 students. What we do is we only specifically aim at moot court teaching, right? So all the just a second, yeah. So all the courses which we have, all the workshops which we have are specifically related to moot courts, and one such course which is doing very good with law students since the quarantine time has started is our online memorial course, which is basically a course divided in 9 modules. आपको starting से सिखाया जाता है moot codes के बारे में, moot propositions के बारे में, research के बारे में, drafting, form talk to you. So what we are also offering is we are offering a 500 rupees special discount to everybody who is watching the video right now. All you have to do is send us an email, or you can contact us on our Instagram page and tell us that you attended the session today. And this discount is valid only till tonight 12 o'clock. I'm going to take a few questions which I can see in the chat box. Of course, people are very eager to receive their certificates, so they've started putting their thing. Okay.
Questions.
So few of the time we have points in our.
Acha, I'd like to address this question by UTP. What if I get a clear government notification from one side? How should I balance the other side? So it happens with a lot of issues. From one side you will get a very primary authority. A primary or secondary authority होते हैं कि primary मतलब आपको case मिल गया है, आपकी research is done. So if at all it happens कि आपको एक notification मिल गया है and it is a primary authority of course, so second side से argue करने के लिए you need to again balance more on logic than law. As Apratim was asked, it was a very very interesting question. तो अगर आपको एक side से you have the law, तो दूसरी साइड से you will have to find ऐसे एग्जांपल्स, फॉर एग्जांपल दूसरी कॉमन लॉ कंट्रीज जहां पे ऐसा लॉ पहले कभी स्ट्राइक डाउन किया जा चुका है, और द फैलेसी बिहाइंड द लॉ, और या फिर फॉर एग्जांपल अगर कोई गवर्नमेंट नोटिफिकेशन है तो उससे भी ऊपर की अथॉरिटी जो होती है वो है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. इफ दैट गवर्नमेंट नोटिफिकेशन इज इन वायलेशन ऑफ एनी प्रोविजन ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बीइंग द सुप्रीम लॉ ऑफ द लैंड, सो यू कैन चैलेंज द गवर्नमेंट नोटिफिकेशन एज वेल. तो ये उसके बैलेंसिंग अथॉरिटी आपको मिल जाएगी.
Okay, I would like to take a question which is very important. मतलब आप लोग सबके सब moot related questions तो पूछ ही रहे हो, but I can see a question on our YouTube live stream which is how to improve fluency in English and paraphrasing exactly what we want to convey, and also how to build confidence if one starts mooting in 4th year. Very good question. This is by Shruti Raviraj. All of us need to understand that we are not of the same background all the time. किसी की strength जो है वो English में है, किसी की strength हिंदी में है, किसी की strength किसी local language में है. So if you are weak in English, that's very reasonable, and that's nothing to be shameful of. But if you do not start working on your English during law school, then it might be problematic. I'll tell you why. Because unless you plan to work all your life in district courts, English is the most important language for lawyers. This is fortunate or unfortunate, I don't know, but yehi norm hai. This happens. So to improve your English, we'd also like to tell you that in about 15 days or so, we like Memo Pundits is releasing a course on English for law students, जिसमें speaking, verbal English and written English are going to be the main topics which will be covered, so that when you do the course, you have absolute confidence on your English, either if you want to apply it on moot court competitions, debates, MUNs, or even generally talking to friends who generally converse in English, right? So once you do that course, you will have substantial confidence with your English. So please look out for that course.
So we have one more question on YouTube Live.
Yes.
Yeah, the question says that how to prepare for oral rounds and how to be more confident and fluent while explaining ourselves, because the moment we enter the court hall, nervousness starts.
True. And ये चीज मेरे से ज्यादा अच्छा कोई नहीं जान सकता, because 12th class तक of course मैंने कोई debating, कोई presentation competition कभी कुछ नहीं किया था. और first year में when I was asked in the first semester to speak in front of 20 of my classmates, my hands used to shake like this, right? So of course nervousness and being confident, these are things which you wouldn't learn in a day. These things don't come easily and without a lot of practice. So to build confidence, especially for oral rounds, what you can do is, and this is very important advice, please सबके सब ध्यान से सुनना, आपको mock rounds देना बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. Before your oral rounds, you should have at least completed 20 to 30 oral rounds as your mock preparation. As judges, you can have your own teammates. You can have people who have absolutely no idea about the moot. That's a very good way to start. I'll give you a very good example. The team which was the finalist in Philip C. Jessup from our world rounds from our college, they had set up a bench of first year students who had absolutely no idea about mooting, law in general, koi idea nahi tha. But how did that help? That helped because they used to ask absolutely redundant, ridiculous questions, और ऐसे क्वेश्चंस को आंसर देने में ही नर्वसनेस होती है. ऑफ कोर्स अगर मैं आपसे पूछूं कि आपका नाम क्या है, यू आर कॉन्फिडेंट अबाउट इट बिकॉज यू नो दिस, ठीक है, सो यू विल से माय नेम इज अनंत गुप्ता, राइट. बट अगर आपसे कुछ ऐसी चीज पूछ लो जिसके बारे में आप कॉन्फिडेंट नहीं हो, आपको पता ही नहीं है, एंड यू टेकन अबैक, देन आपकी कॉन्फिडेंस ब्रेक होती है और आपको नर्वसनेस आती है, राइट. सो टू ब्रेक दैट, टू प्रोसीड फ्रॉम दैट, यू नीड टू हैव मॉक राउंड्स फॉर योर ओरल प्रिपरेशन.
I'm finding this question, 2-3 people have asked this question. What should be the minimum number of case laws supporting your argument? So थोड़ा सा यहाँ पर इतना compartmentalized question है नहीं है. For example, if you are approaching a tier 3 moot, कोई national moot पे जा रहे हो जिसका obviously जो उतना पुराना moot नहीं, उतना respectable moot नहीं है, so what they prefer is a lot of case laws. And this we've found, this is a trick for the best promoters कि उनको बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि अगर 150-200 case laws है. On the contrary, Jessup में ऐसे memos, best memo जीते हैं which had total number of 78 citations. So it's not a very hard and fast tool. What you need to do before deciding कि आप कितने case laws रखोगे, pick out the best memorials जो उस particular moot में last year जीते हैं, and you dig out the trick. ये वाला जो moot court competition के organizers हैं, what they are inclined to. Do they want more substantial number of authorities, or do they focus on the quality of authority? तो आप पिछले साल के बेस्ट मेमोरियल्स देखो जहाँ से आपको पता लगे.
Okay, so of course, sorry, yeah, continue. हाँ,
secondly ये एक क्वेश्चन था कि how to draft the prayer. अब this is a very very important question क्योंकि prayer पे आप कभी-कभी ये भी होता है कि आप जाते हो oral argument चालू करते हो, you are like, if your lordship may I would like to proceed, the council would like to proceed the facts of the case. lordship बोलते हैं कि सीधे बेटा prayer पे आते हो, ठीक है, और आपका प्रेयर वाला पेज सीधे खुलता है और आपका पूरा आर्गुमेंट का स्ट्रक्चर वहीं पे खत्म हो जाता है. तो व्हाट यू नीड टू डू, प्रेयर बहुत ही केयरफुली ड्राफ्ट होनी चाहिए. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर अपील आप कर रहे हो, पेटिशनर मतलब अपीलेंट हो, आप अपील कर रहे हो, तो द फर्स्ट प्रेयर इज वेरी लॉजिकल टू ड्राफ्ट द फर्स्ट प्रेयर एज दैट प्लीज एक्सेप्ट माय अपील. बच्चे अपने पहले इशू पे चले जाते हैं, मेंटेनेबिलिटी छोड़ देते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर आप दूसरी साइड से हो तो आप ये प्रेयर करोगे, प्लीज रिजेक्ट द अपील. तो मेक श्योर, और जितने भी इश्यूज हैं, हर इशू के रिस्पेक्टिव एक प्रेयर होनी चाहिए. और एक इनोवेटिव चीज, अनंत, आई वुड लाइक यू टू ऐड ऑन दिस. जब तूने अपने मेमो में वो ऐड किया था, इंटरेस्ट क्लॉज ऐड किया था,
so of course whenever we have issues like maintainability मेंटेनेबिलिटी के अलावा मेरिट्स पे क्वेश्चन हो गया कि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जो है वो ब्रीच हुआ है या नहीं हुआ है, और हम मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स प्रेयर में इंक्लूड करते हैं इन्हीं चीजों के रिलेटेड जो हमारी प्रेयर होती है. बट इन द प्रेयर यू कैन ऑल्सो आस्क फॉर इनोवेटिव रिलीफ्स. इनोवेटिव रिलीफ्स का क्या मतलब है? फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर आपके पैसे, इन द केस ऐसा था कि एक पार्टी ने दूसरी पार्टी के पैसे जो है वो वापस नहीं किए काफी टाइम से. So in the prayer, of course, you said कि पैसे वापस दे दो. But what about the interest? What about any extra compensation which you can ask for? So these things are not obviously written in the moot proposition, but these come as innovative, and the judges will, commend you for doing this, for taking that extra step in going, like asking for that prayer. Of course, we are getting a lot of questions. We wouldn't be able to answer all of them, but I'm just going to take a couple of them together.
I'd like to answer this one from Paresh Chandiramani ki how can an introvert person prepare for his first moot?
Yes.
So बिल्कुल, आप फर्स्ट ईयर सेकंड ईयर में ये सबसे बड़ा डर होता है कि मैं क्या करूं, क्या मूट तो करना है बट मूट में मैं करूं क्या, रिसर्च कहाँ से करूं, पहली चीज इंटरनेट पे मैं क्या लिखूं, हाउ टू राइट द फर्स्ट वर्ड इन द फर्स्ट आर्ग्यूमेंट, और हाउ टू एंटर, जैसे आप ओरल राउंड के लिए घुसते हो कोर्ट में, वो पैर द वॉबल्स इन योर नीज, पेट में दर्द होने लगता है, सब पूरा सब कुछ घूम जाता है। ये दिस इज बाउंड टू हैपन परेश, इट इज अ मैटर ऑफ टाइम जब ये सारी चीजें कम होती जाती है। हम भी जब कभी किसी भी, आज भी आफ्टर 6 years of taking classes, whenever we go to a law school and for the first time we enter the class, there's a slight bit of nervousness in me and Anant as well. But had we not done this over 6 years, तो हम ज्यादा नर्वस होते। तो what the best thing is to reduce, you cannot get away from nervousness, है ना, it is bound to happen, जितनी अच्छी आपकी तैयारी होगी उतना ज्यादा आप नर्वस होगे। But what we suggest to all our students is get done with this nervousness in the beginning years of your law school. First year में मूट उठाओ, इंट्रा यूनिवर्सिटी उठाओ, जाओ, जितनी इंसल्ट करवानी है उतनी इंसल्ट करवाओ जज से, और जितनी तुम्हारी इंसल्ट होगी, तुम नेशनल राउंड के लिए जो मूट करने जा रहे हो, यू विल बी मच प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर दैट, नॉट टू गेट इंसल्टेड बट हाउ टू काउंटर दैट इंसल्ट.
This is not where the the buck stops. It just goes on from there. आपको ultimately क्या करना है जिंदगी में? You have to stand in courts in front of a lot of people, in front of the judge, and intimidating judge. उस टाइम पे अगर आपकी नर्वसनेस इतनी हाई होगी तो आपका कैसे करियर चलेगा यार? तो all you need to understand is you need to start somewhere, and mooting इसीलिए कराई जाती है लॉ स्टूडेंट्स को, ताकि वो ये इस इनिशियल बैरियर ऑफ नर्वसनेस, कॉन्फिडेंस बिल्डिंग को पार कर सके।
आपने 15 साल अगर हाई कोर्ट में प्रैक्टिस कर ली है, तो आप क्या चाहोगे कि 16वें साल में मैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट में प्रैक्टिस करूँ ना जाके? तो वो पहली बारी तो होगा जब आप सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जाओगे, तो 15 साल की प्रैक्टिस के बाद भी यू आर बाउंड टू गेट नर्वस. So it is just a matter of time. Do it, keep doing it, keep doing it.
Okay, so of course मैं ये बोलना चाह रहा था कि we are getting a lot of questions and we'll try to answer most of them, but in case we are not able to answer your question, just reach out to us on Instagram, DM us your message, we will get in touch with you. I'm just leaving our Instagram ID. Sorry, Rachnendra, can you send? Acha, I'll send us. Yeah, so you can just reach out to us here and we'll answer your questions. One question which I'd like to take is how to analyze your weaknesses after a moot court competition. Very interesting question, because from what I remember, the first thing which I used to do after losing a moot court competition is of course, yeah, visiting a good place where I can have a good time. But of course, and where I can talk at length about how I did not like the moot judges, I hated the moot court competition. But आप ये कितना भी कर लो, आपके अलावा किसी को इस चीज से फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा कि आप कितना ज्यादा पॉइंट आउट कर रहे हो मिस्टेक्स को ऑफ द मूट कोर्ट ऑर्गेनाइजर, ऑफ द मूट कोर्ट कंपटीशन, ऑफ द जजेस. व्हाट यू कैन डू इज यू कैन लर्न फ्रॉम योर एक्सपीरियंसेस. आपका जब मूट कोर्ट कंपटीशन खत्म हो जाए, you can the first thing which you should do is, as soon as the best memorials are released, if they are made publicly available, go through them and go through them without a bias. ये हमेशा बहुत बार होता है हमें in NLS IAM, a moot which I did, NLS arbitration जो होता है, उसमें we got the 4th best memo and we were very confident कि हमारा best memo आएगा ही, right? So when we saw the best memorial, then we were like कि ये तो गलत ही है, मतलब this is unfair for sure, right? But it doesn't, मतलब मूट कोर्ट ऑर्गेनाइजर्स का क्या इंसेंटिव है हमें बेस्ट मेमो ना देने का, किसी और को बेस्ट मेमो देने का? सो व्हाट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड इज, आपको एक अनबायस्ड माइंड से बेस्ट मेमोरियल्स को देखना जरूरी है, और ये समझना जरूरी है कि ऐसे कौन से केस लॉस थे जो आपने साइट नहीं किए, आपका आर्ग्यूमेंट स्ट्रक्चर कैसे डिफरेंट था दूसरों के मेमोरियल से. ये सारी चीजें बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है आफ्टर द मूट कोर्ट कॉम्पिटिशन. Okay, so we'll take some more questions.
What should we do during oral rounds to be respectful to? हाँ, oral rounds में मैं एक तुम लोगों को anecdote बताता हूँ. मैं first moot था मेरा, and this I tell in every of my workshops. तो मेरा जो दूसरा speaker था, we wrote something in our memo, एक argument लिखा, और वो बहुत obvious argument था कि for example article 21 says this. So the judge asked where is it written, and और हमने वो cite नहीं किया था. तो जब थोड़ा उस पे 1 मिनट के लिए जज ने उसे ग्रिल कर लिया, तो he said that the council presumed this fact to be in the general knowledge of your lordship. और वो जज उस बात पे इतना ज्यादा चिढ़ गया था कि उसने और बहुत ज्यादा ग्रील किया. तो द ओनली थिंग विच यू नीड टू know while taking questions is be polite. Always mention how intelligent the judge is while he was asking that question, how respectable that question was, how important it is to address for the council that question. So वो सारी soft skills बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी होती हैं, and they come in handy while you are during your oral round.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to take, yeah.
Yeah, Anand sir, please go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to take, I think let's take 2 more questions and then we can close this session. Please tell me how to write the prayer clause. Okay, we've done this. Few of the times we have points in our mind, but we used to forget it during pleadings. So, sir, how to come out of it and to remember them at the time? I think मैंने थोड़ा part of this question I've already answered, which is आपको मॉक प्रेपरेशन करना बहुत जरूरी है. ऐसा बहुत बार होता है कि आप जब पहली बार मूट कोर्ट कंपटीशन करने जाते हो, you have this speech prepared in your mind that I'll start with, you know, your lordships, मैं आज ये बोलने वाला हूँ, ये मेरा आर्ग्यूमेंट है, ये सब वो सब. और फिर जब एक बार जज आपसे पूछता है कि काउंसिल, I don't want to hear the first and second issue, come to the third issue, right? Then your confidence breaks entirely. Then you're like, right? So this happens with all of us. It has happened with me. It has happened with Rachnendra. It happens to almost all law students. And ये again confidence building की बात है, right? So इसके लिए the most important thing is mock rounds. You need to do mock rounds. You need to do test rounds before the actual oral round. So at least एक महीना पहले start doing your mock rounds. 20-30 mock rounds तो definitely important है. I remember, I think the Jessup team of our college did about 50 to 100 mock rounds. So that's the importance. And once you do these rounds, you are ready to face any question, any random question which comes on your way, right? So that's very important.
Another tip which comes for the oral round is, whenever you're going for the oral round, there would be some obvious questions which are going to be asked. उन obvious questions का एक template आपको बनाना चाहिए, and you should be thorough with those obvious questions, that these are the questions. मैं जब ये वाले issue पे ये वाला सब issue बोलूंगा, तो जब judge is bound to, it's very probable that the judge will point me out here और वो इससे question पूछेगा ही पूछेगा. वो जितने भी obvious questions हैं, you should be prepared with those questions ताकि आपका time कम लगे, you are able to respond in the most effective manner. So it's a very smart trick. Obviously आपकी moot preparation अलग-अलग tier की होती है. कुछ लोग normally prepare करेंगे, कुछ लोग बहुत अच्छे से prepare करेंगे, some will prepare exceptionally. So what we want, what tips we are giving there for a good preparation, wherein you can bag certain awards. So ये सारे जो oral rounds की transcripts बनाना, templates बनाना, obvious questions prepare करना, और उनके answers prepare करना, it's all entails into a good moot court preparation.
Okay, I think दो last questions हैं, sorry, दो और लेंगे हम. एक क्वेश्चन है जिसका बहुत सिंपल सा आंसर है. किसी ने पूछा हुआ है मिनिमम नंबर ऑफ केसेस कितने होने चाहिए. बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन है, बट बहुत डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन है. देयर इज नो सच मिनिमम नंबर रिक्वायरमेंट इन एनी मूट, बट एट द सेम टाइम तुम ऐसा कोई भी बेस्ट मेमोरियल नहीं देखोगे जिसमें 20-30 केसेस ही हैं, राइट? सो आई वुड से आइडियली ऑन एन एवरेज, एंड अगेन आई वुड से दिस इज नॉट मैंडेटरी, बट योर the number of cases should be around 70 to 80 plus. ठीक है, that's a number which about which you can be confident about कि मेरे best memorial के chances हैं. From what I remember, the last memorial which we submitted for the NUJS moot court competition, we had about 150 cases, and उसके अलावा we had authorities, so the total number of the citations which we had were 250 plus. And I think कहीं ना कहीं जजेस के दिमाग में, किसी जज के दिमाग में ये कहीं कभी कभार मैटर करता है. So if you have a substantial number of authorities, it would not be harmful, but बस डालने के लिए मत डालना authorities, ठीक है? So have substantial authorities present in your memorial. Last question. Yeah.
Should confusion be represented before the judge after the end of an argument? Now, this is not a very hard and fast rule. आपको, you have to read the judge. For example, अगर जज ने आपको इतना ज्यादा ग्रिल कर दिया है ऑलरेडी किसी इशू पे, and you are not able to reach the conclusion, if you are grilled enough, so you did not conclude it. You just plead the judge to and beg him to, let you move to the next issue. And if the judge seems satisfied, if you answered those questions, then you can just plead the judge that the council would like to address the next issue with your lordship's permission. So concluding an argument when the argument is done with an ending note is optional, and you need to take your clues from what in what position the judge is. अगर वो आपसे थोड़ा खुश है तो आप बिल्कुल टाइम लो, अगर आपके पास टाइम नहीं है, टाइम रश कर रहे हो आप, तो बिना मतलब कंक्लूड करने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि आप कंक्लूजन प्रिपेयर करके लाए हो घर से, फिर मूव ऑन कर जाओ यार, मतलब नेक्स्ट इशू पे जाओ जितना जल्दी. टाइम कंस्ट्रेंट्स होती हैं, आपको जज को देखना है, अगर जज आपसे खुश है तो फिर बिल्कुल कंक्लूड करो. अगर जज को लग रहा है कि तुमने पका दिया है उसको उस इशू पे, तो इट्स बेटर टू मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट इशू एज सून एज पॉसिबल. Yes.
So with that, we would come to an end with our today's session. And the number of questions which we are receiving from the participants, that in itself is the answer that how good this session was. And I mean, most of us had these doubts which Rachnendra sir and Anant sir, took up today and cleared it in front of us.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we're really sorry जिस किसी का भी हमने क्वेश्चन आंसर नहीं किया है, प्लीज रीच आउट टू अस ऑन इंस्टाग्राम. वी वुड डेफिनेटली हेल्प यू आउट. वी डू दैट ऑन अ डेली बेसिस. हम सुबह से रात तक यही करते हैं. So please reach out to us.
Yeah, so keeping in mind about the time constraints, so as Anant sir and Rachnendra sir already said that if you have any more doubts, you can reach out to them on their Instagram handle. Just go and do follow the Memo Pundits page on Instagram. Go visit their website and please check out their course on memorial drafting. It's a really nice course, like the way they explained it. I mean, if you take the course further, so it will be, the application of the explanation which you received today, and it will surely in turn help you to improve on your mooting skills in future. And coming to an end to this session, I would once again like to thank Anant sir as well as Rachnendra sir for such an insightful and informative session. And we are looking forward to host many more such sessions with Memo Pundits for the encouragement of the mooting opportunities in India. Thank you.
Actually, Apratim, let's tell everyone about what we are planning to do. So exactly. I think next week or next to next week, everybody who's listening right now, we are going to start a masterclass webinar series on moot court competitions. For now, we have almost decided the topics. The speakers are brilliant. Matlab, you'll never find such mooters give any moot court webinars. So please look out at Lex Auxilium's website, and please stay connected with us so that you can be informed and updated about the upcoming webinars. And of course, thank you everyone. I can still see that 85 people are all still there, and this makes me very happy. So thank you so much everyone for sparing your time for this. And of course, thank you Lex Auxilium. This was a wonderful session. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, guys.
And everyone, just a gentle reminder once again that we are providing the certificates only to the participants who have joined us through the Zoom meeting. And pertaining to the number of registrations which we had received and the overwhelming response which the students had shown in this session, we had went live on YouTube, and we will share the video of the same on our YouTube channel. But however, we will not be able to give the certificates to the participants who has joined us through the YouTube. So really sorry about it. And at the same time, we have received some queries from some of our participants that we had joined initially, but we were removed. So to clarify that, none of us has removed you. It's just that due to the government guidelines and to maintain the security of the sessions, we have to keep these, we have to log the room after a certain point of time, which was initially announced at the starting of the session. So due to any power cuts or any problem on your end, you were removed from the meeting. Neither Lex Auxilium nor Memo Pundits is liable for the same. The same was intimated through you via the email last night. Thank you all for joining with us, and stay connected with Lex Auxilium and Memo Pundits. Check our websites regularly for our upcoming interesting sessions as well as memorial drafting courses. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Guys.
Thank you, sir.